mastery of public speaking. For most professions and most hustles, it enables you to rise. So, looking at this, I thought today, let me just share a little bit about public speaking, some nuggets that people can take and start immediately applying so that perhaps they can move from the 75% who are scared of public speaking to the 25% who absolutely love it. So, that is what we're talking about today. When we talk about public speaking, we're talking about your ability to deliver a message in a convincing manner, in a manner that enables you to achieve your goal in front of a group of people. So this is different from what we're doing right now, Erica, because I'm really speaking to nobody other than you and Lewe here. And you might find that somebody is actually very fluent and comfortable speaking in an environment such as this one, but you put them in on a stage in front of people, and suddenly they freeze, they're stuttering, all the confidence is gone. And yet, oftentimes, we find ourselves in a situation sooner or later where we have to deliver a public speech. So that's what we're talking about today. Now, what can you expect to get out of this? You can expect to get some tips that will enhance your public speaking skill. I look at public speaking as a learnable skill that everyone who's got a voice can develop. It's like driving. Everybody can drive, but not everybody is a Lewis Hamilton or a Schumacher. Not all of us can do it at that level, but everyone has the capacity. So being a learnable skill, if you make effort, if you study it, if you get lessons on it, you can improve. And when you improve, it helps you achieve your goals in life, whatever your goals are. So the first thing about public speaking is one of the things that people struggle with the most is anxiety. When I stand before people, I suddenly find that all that preparation is just gone. All the
Trust me, Donna,
confidence is eroded.
you would think that if you're on radio, you know how to public speak. I got one of the biggest shocks of my life.
Tell me about it.
Point 1, point 2, and lower is piercing through your soul from the crowd, and you can't speak. So I don't think, like you said, anyone is ever ready for that.
Yeah, true. True. So the biggest challenge that people face is anxiety, is fear, is discomfort, is just being uncomfortable in front of people. So how can you address this? Let me start with maybe 3 points. I like doing things in three points that you can do that will significantly, immediately, right away, reduce your level of anxiety when you stand in front of people. Number one is preparation. The more prepared you are, the less anxious you will be, the less fear you will experience. So just by preparing, putting time to write down, I normally recommend don't write down your whole speech. Or rather, if you write it down, don't read your whole speech. But there are two lines that I recommend you memorize. Memorize your opening line. What is the very first thing you're going to say when you stand in front of people? And try as much as possible not to change it. Once you have made up your mind, stand up and start with that line. Nothing succeeds like success. So if you start on a high note, the moment you start speaking and you say the line you've memorized and you say it fluently, you're not memorizing a paragraph, just one sentence. What is your opening sentence? Number two, memorize your closing line. And then practice. By practicing, I am talking about rehearsing. It's not enough to know what you're going to say, but rehearse it. Stand in front of a mirror, get your kids around or your friends or whatever. And if that presentation you're going to make is that important, then rehearse it. Okay? So practicing is critical to your confidence. Number two is your focus in your mind. Don't focus on, oh gosh, what if I make a mistake? What if things go wrong? Because it's all about what you're thinking about. What you need to focus on is the message. What is the message you want to impart? If you stand in front of people and the topmost thought in your mind is that I would like somebody to walk out of here today with a new idea that they didn't have before. When you focus on that, you'll find that even when you make mistakes, you can recover much quicker because you're not focusing on what if I make a mistake? What about my delivery? You're not self-conscious. You're not putting attention on yourself. You're putting attention on the message that you want to deliver. If your message is that I would like to educate some people today, there are three important points I want them to take away from here. You focus on that. Your chances of making a mistake and going wrong are less than if you're focusing on, oh gosh, I hope that I do not stutter. I hope that I don't stand in front of somebody like Lewa who's got piercing eyes, who is criticizing me right from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. So that's number two thing you can do. Once you are there, even before you go, focus on the end goal you have. What is the end goal? Make it the topmost item in your mind. And I've shared this before on radio. One of the best ways of influencing how you think is to use questions. Ask yourself, what is the most important message I want to deliver? Keep asking yourself and answering that question. That will eliminate many of the challenges that we face. And then number three, when we look at issues that you can do, at concepts and ideas that you can take in order to reduce the levels of anxiety. Number three is that focus on friendly faces when you're speaking. Right? I highly recommend eye contact. But there are some people who, the moment you lock eyes with them, they've got this frown on their face that says you are doing everything wrong, and you've got the risk of even forgetting your own name. Eh?
From up to head to toe. Ukuthi, "Kung saan nakahamba video?"
Imagine. So if you focus on people who are friendly, who are encouraging, it helps you not to lose track of what you wanted to say. And you'll find that the chances of you suffering debilitating anxiety are significantly reduced. You are able to recover as and when it happens. So if you're listening and you've just tuned in, we're talking about the power of public speaking, and we've just shared three important ideas that you can start implementing right now that will help you reduce anxiety, because being anxious, being afraid, having butterflies flying in your tummy is the biggest challenge that people encounter when it comes to public speaking. And talking of butterflies, you'll find that even now, I mean, I've been in full-time speaking as a profession for 21 years.
21 years?
Yes, since 2003. I still get nervous when I'm in front of people. But the idea is those butterflies flying, you cannot totally eliminate them, but learn to direct them so that they're flying in formation. Right? So that although you're anxious, you are managing that anxiety and you're finding means and ways of managing it. So that's just an answer to one of the biggest challenges that people have when it comes to public speaking. I've got tons and tons to share today, and already I can see I won't even share half of what I have. But stand by if you've got a pen and paper ready. Take notes, because there's lots that I want to share. Maybe before I go into the other tips, what is an effective public speech? When I say somebody has spoken effectively, maybe let me hear your take on this. What is an effective public speech?
I think I would actually refer back to what you said when you said that you must ask yourself a question with what message do you want to deliver. So effectively, if you've delivered the message that you were aiming to deliver, then to me that would then be an effective speech.
Amazing. Erica, you should come and be a part-time trainer in public speaking with me, because you hit the nail on the head. That's the number one attribute of an effective public speech. It achieves intended objectives. So there are different objectives for speech. You can have a speech to educate. You can have a speech to inspire. You can have a speech to sell something. You can have a speech to convince. You can have a speech to change people's minds. You can have a speech to just entertain people. But when you achieve your intended objective, then yes, that is an effective public speech. Other aspects are engaging. Is it engaging? You know that when you start speaking, you got 15 seconds within which people decide whether they want to listen to the rest of what you want to say, or they'll just be looking at you but thinking about other things. 15 seconds. So when you engage, you grab that attention, you hold on to that attention, at least for the duration of your speech. So the second aspect of an effective public speech is that it's engaging. Number three, it's captivating. Closely relating to engaging. Engaging, people are listening involved. Captivating, it's like they forget everything else and they're mesmerized by what you're saying. It's almost like you're magnetic. And number four, an effective public speech appeals to both the heart and the mind. In other words, it speaks to what is logical, but it also addresses the emotional aspect. As human beings, we're emotional creatures. And I know from sales and marketing, they say that when people make a decision to purchase something, 99% of the times it is an emotional decision. But we then use logic to justify it, to explain it. So if your presentation appeals to both the heart and the mind, you know that you are in that rare group of people who are able to effectively deliver public speeches. Right. So let's move on to some of the practical tips. I've got 17 tips here, and let me see, what is our time? Oh my word,
We've got
8 minutes. Right. I'll just cover as much as I can. So number one is the power of purpose. the power of purpose. It's why. Why am I giving this presentation? If you are clear on the why, then the how becomes much easier. I've been at a place where a guest speaker started giving a speech by chopping a word. You know what chopping is? Mispronouncing a word. And this was in front of school kids, a high school. And the ladies, it's a girls' school, all went when she say this. And you would think from this point onwards, it's downhill. She wasn't articulate. She wasn't eloquent. She was speaking in English, and her language was nothing to write home about. I tell you, by the end of the presentation, just before the thunderous applause, you could have had the drop of a pig. Because of the why. When she spoke about her message, which was straight from her heart, and the challenges she went through to be where she is today, the students forgot everything about grammar, forgot everything about pronunciation, and focused entirely on the message. So when you have got a strong enough why, it will overcome all sorts of other hurdles that you may have. So that's number one. Be very clear on your why. Number two is clarity of intention. We've already touched on this, so I won't spend too much time. Clarity of intention is be clear on what you're intending to achieve. What am I intending to achieve by giving this speech? And keep that at the top of your mind. Constantly ask yourself that question. Remind yourself, because when you do that, it takes away attention from yourself. You're no longer self-conscious, which increases your chances of making a mistake. And now you're focusing on the message and delivering it. Number three, 6 P's. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Preparation, or the 6 P's. The more you prepare, the better you are at delivering your presentation. So P, 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 P. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Number three is preparation. Number four is structure. Structure your presentation. If it's not structured, it's jumbled up. And when it's jumbled up, it's incoherent. People can't tell where they are starting or ending, or whether you're going on a tangent. So when it's properly structured, even an average speech can achieve extraordinary results. And the thing about structure is simplicity is best. You have an introduction. Clearly, this is my intro where I am stating my maybe my goal or my objective, or saying a sentence that just grabs attention. And then the body is where you are explaining all the information you have, all the tips, all the ideas, whatever it is. And then the conclusion is something memorable. Usually it's something that challenges the audience to take a certain action. So if you've got an intro, a body, and a conclusion, and you follow it and you've done it well, you'll find that your speech is not only concise, as in it's short, sweet, straight to the point, but it's also coherent. You can follow the logic of what the person is saying. So structure is number four. You really must focus on that. Right. Let me talk a little bit about what we call the speaker's arsenal, your weaponry. Right. This is not arsenal as in the team. Right. So your speaker's arsenal. What are the tools that you have in your trade? The most important tool is your voice. By far, the most important tool is your voice. So if you don't have a microphone and you don't have the sound being amplified, then make sure you raise your voice to be heard by the person who's farthest from you, the person who is the most far away from you in that setting as possible. If you can't be heard, no matter what else you do, forget it, because speaking is about producing a sound, and it's about people hearing that sound, decoding that sound, interpreting that sound, understanding it, and acting on it. So voice is important. And there's so many things I could say about voice. One of the most important things is if you want your voice to sound really resonant, you might want to do some breathing exercises before you go to speak. So make sure you're not in front of a mic when you do the breathing exercise. You breathe in through the nose, maybe to a count of 4, like, and then you hold it maybe for a count of, say, 7. You hold the air, and then you breathe out through the mouth slowly to a count of 8. Do this maybe 3 or 4 times before you go. It just makes your voice sound more resonant. And also, it will, in many cases, it will disguise, the shrillness that comes with anxiety when you're really anxious. So it does tricks to your voice, and it comes out sounding like a voice from a cartoon or something like that. So when you do the breathing exercise, it can help. Drinking warm water also helps. Avoid milk products. They tend to produce phlegm in the throat, and you don't want that when you're speaking. So there are many other things about voice. For example, voice variation. There are times when you want to speak slowly in order to emphasize a point. There are times when you really want to speak fast because this is in line with what you're saying. There are times when you want to be loud, and there are times when you want to be soft. So voice variation makes sure that people are not bored. You are varying the tempo, that is the speed at which you're speaking. You're varying the volume as well. So all those are important. Maybe last thing I'll cover because we're running out of time, and there's an exercise I wanted to challenge myself. Right, be mindful of your body language as well. So stand up straight, look sharp, look like you're interested. I was speaking to a young lady who was preparing for a competition recently, and I told her you need stage presence. And what is stage presence? Stage presence is when you show everybody that you are excited to be here, that you're really happy to be in this place, and that you couldn't be anywhere else. So here's the challenge I wanted you to give me. I want you to give me a word, and I'll give an impromptu speech, trying as much as possible to highlight what I've said. Give me a random word, any word.
I'll use the word time.
Time waits for no man. No matter who you are, you might be a millionaire, a billionaire, you might be Bill Gates or whoever, you've got the same 24 hours in a day. But what matters is not the time you have available to you, but what you do with that time. A lot of people talk about time management. You cannot manage time. The only thing you can manage is yourself within the given time. So as you listen to me right now, I want you to think seriously about how you are managing yourself within your given time. That brings us to the end. So listen, if you're interested in what I'm sharing and you want to be part of the group that is learning all this on a daily basis, join the Success Family. To join the Success Family, send the word join, JOIN, to 0773 056 736. I'll repeat that, 0773 056 736. Send the word join and we will grow together as we look at personal development. Over to you.
If you would allow me, Jonah, before we let you go, to add something that Teach Matthias told me before I got on stage one day. He said, you've got to remember to take yourself to the stage. Like, you've got to take Erica to the stage. Because if that's not it, you're going to
be yourself because everybody else is already taken.
That is true. Thank you so much, Jonah. Straight to the top of the hour, I was talking to Jonah Mogoti, and today we were touching on public speaking. I do hope that you got some nuggets there. If you did not, you can catch up with them on our Facebook platform. That's at StarFM_ZW. Straight to the top of the hour. It's 10 o'clock on Star FM, and it's time for the news.
In Papers Radio Broadcasting.